Okay, thanks, Andiswa, and thank you, and good morning to everybody. I'm just going to give you a quick run through of some stuff that the Department of Environment Affairs has been doing with its partners and things that we also want to dream of. So it's not just practical stuff, but it's also visionary stuff, hopefully. It's quite clear, I mean, even from this early quote from Mole in 2006, that the new information model around environmental governance and the whole information age can and should transform environmental governance into the future. And with that, I'm just going to quickly run through 6 big ideas that the department has, just for ease of understanding the broad areas that we're working in. The department realizes that radical advances in information technology and management provides massive opportunities for radical advances in environmental governance too. Our sense is that better informed and more immediately responsive environmental management decisions will significantly improve environmental management and will contribute to the building of social, economic, and environmental resilience to climate change and strengthening and maintaining that resilience as well. Although the department and its partners, including Science and Innovation, SCION, SANSA, our entity, South African Weather Service, National Biodiversity Institute, etc., have developed and are developing many information technology and management interventions to greatly improve the effectiveness of environmental governance. This presentation just quickly introduces 6 big ideas. So those big ideas are, the first one is eyes in the sky. And we've had a lot of discussion around that already this morning about the use of remote sensing for near real-time change detection. Something fishy, the high-tech oceans and coast information management system that my colleague from Oceans and Coast, Dr. Marjolaine Krug, will be doing tomorrow on session 4. Staying grounded, the rollout and maintenance of modern air quality and climate-related monitoring equipment, which has also been covered and which will be covered by my colleague from South African Weather Service as well. Quality and quantity, improved environmental impact management efficiency and effectiveness. Red flags, which once again will be covered by, I believe, in some detail by Dr. Bopapi later on in the session. And then finally, some more of the stuff that I think is important, but I don't think we're taking into account strong enough. And I refer here to the comment earlier that as backup generation for our systems, we're putting in diesel generators. And this is something that we really shouldn't be doing, especially in a country with such amazing solar and wind resources. So this talks about looking at storage and supercomputing using renewable resources. So the first one, of course, in terms of eyes in the sky, I mean, we've talked about this access to numerous sources of satellite collected data and types of data, but I don't believe the government is not fully exploiting the immense environmental governance and climate change resilience building potential yet. I think we've acknowledged that there's massive opportunities, but I'm not sure if we really are there yet. However, things are moving. One of the important ones for me is the National Land Cover Dataset and Associated Land Cover Project, and I'll talk about that in a bit more detail. But also things like remote monitoring of our critical biodiversity areas, our key water source areas. Of course, South Africa is a very, very dry country. And in that area, we've already started remote sensing of the quality of our private nature reserves. We're also doing feasibility around the remote sensing of mining rehabilitation using machine learning to recognize the footprints of open cast mines. We're also looking at the aspect of compliance monitoring. We did some work around looking at PV, photovoltaic rollout as well, but found that was more suited to drone applications than to satellite applications. But importantly, the whole aspect around fact checking, and this has also been an important element that we've used in court cases to show that, for example, evidence that was brought to the courts was not in fact correct. We've used satellite images to show that at the time things were quite different to what was being said. And really important, and this is a hard nut to crack for us, and we haven't cracked it yet, is the whole aspect around plant invasions. And especially with climate change implications of increased temperatures and what have you, the chances of alien invasive species under an alien climate is something that is really quite real. So, of course, these are the kind of desired outcomes we'd like to see from that, and it's impact responses to climate change, building the climate change resilience, timeless environmental management responses, and then things like looking at the rollout of PV and solar water heating in the commercial and residential sector. which gives us a clue of how well we're doing in terms of our climate change mitigation interventions. This is in March this year, we took ownership of the cloud automated land cover system, which was developed for us by GeoTerra and the CSIR, which now provides us with the ability, in-house ability, to analyze satellite imaging and generate the South African National Land Cover Dataset with 73 information classes or land cover classes. And we can do that whenever we need. And of course, as a climate change impact monitoring tool and an environmental impact monitoring tool, this land cover and land cover change is of huge importance to us. Then on something fishy, as I said, I'm not going to dwell on this, but we've created a very high-tech oceans and coast information management system called OCIMS, and my colleague will be speaking about that tomorrow. Staying grounded, once again, the rollout and maintenance of modern air quality and climate-related monitoring equipment. My colleague from South African Weather Service will talk about that in detail. But I think it's important to say that there are a whole bunch of other initiatives that are underway. There's the expansion of the expanded freshwater terrestrial environmental observation system that has been rolled out by the South African Environmental Observation Network. Very, very exciting stuff. And there's a whole bunch of stuff about the upgrades of our automatic weather stations and so on and so forth. From our side, and I encourage people who, certainly the South Africans who are interested in knowing what the quality of the air they're breathing is to go to the App Store and download the South African Air Quality Information System, the SAQUIS app, and you'll get real-time downloads from 120 fully automated air quality monitoring stations around the country to tell you what your air looks like and what the problems are and so on and so forth. So this is hugely important. And in fact, this kind of situation, we've just completed a survey on attitudes to environment, and South Africans see air quality as being the second most important issue from an environmental perspective. And so this provides people with the kind of information that they really are looking for. In terms of quality and quantity, improved environmental impact management and efficiency, one of the things that we have is a thing called the environmental screening tool, which is a GIS-based tool that has basically is now law, that if you do an environmental impact assessment in South Africa, you have to actually get a report generated from the screening tool. The screening tool has over 120 spatial information layers relating to environmental sensitivity. So as soon as you put your development footprint on the program, it'll tell you exactly what kind of issues that you may face, and you can actually move your footprint around to actually reduce your environmental impact on site before you even submit an environmental impact assessment. And so that has been now required by law since October 2019. Red flags, I'm sure that this has already been covered quite strongly by the National Disaster Management Centre, but will also be covered by South African Weather Service as well. So I'm not going to go into that. Then finally, for me, Andy Swear, is this whole aspect of looking at this whole discussion around cloud storage and high performance computing and supercomputing and what have you, but looking at the carbon footprint of this. We know that, for example, the shares of Tesla dropped dramatically when Elon Musk suddenly realized the massive energy intensity of Bitcoin. And the reality is that we can't start looking at these kind of technologies in isolation. We have to reduce their carbon footprint. And certainly within a country like South Africa, we have huge opportunities to do so in terms of looking at renewable energy and heating, ventilation, and air conditioning systems. And the whole aspect of battery and hydrogen fuel cell backups for uninterrupted power to these particular things. Because, as you know, things like our screening tool have to be available 24/7. They're required by law, and so they have to be continuously available. So it's something that I think that we also need to exploit and need to look at far more carefully. So in the last 2 minutes I have, in conclusion, basically, the Department of Planning, Monitoring and Evaluation, the Presidency, basically supports the whole concept of evidence-based policymaking for good reason, is that they believe that better policies and better decisions result when these are based on sound empirical evidence and solid rational analysis. The information age allows us to do that. It just encourages it, it supports it, facilitates it. And so we really need to exploit this technology to radically improve the effectiveness of policy decision-making in the environmental management field. From our side, I mean, the information age, as far as we're concerned, creates jobs in data collection, data management, and in data use, and that's something that desperately needed in South Africa. And these jobs in the information age are perfectly suited to the youth. The levels of people where our most significant levels of unemployment are in young people who leave school and don't have a chance for a job. But there are immense opportunities in this particular area. And so we believe that expenditure on the technology and technicians for improved, to roll out the fourth industrial revolution effectively, is an investment in our economic, social, and environmental well-being, an investment in informed policy decision making, and an investment in our youth and future generations. So that's just a quick overview, just as a teaser of the kind of stuff that we're involved in. And I'm sure my colleagues from South African Weather Service and from Oceans and Coast will provide far more insightful and far more technical insight. Thank you.